our local edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. I'm on the Central Coast today, and we are joined by Mario Iglesias. He is the general manager of the Nipomo Community Services District. And recently the governor declared that there were no longer going to be state-imposed mandatory water restrictions. He did say that localities could continue to impose their own local restrictions. That was in large part because of great rainfall in Northern California. How do we do on the Central Coast?
Rainfall-wise or through our self-certification program? The governor allowed us to now self-certify.
Let's talk about rainfall so we have some context as to what we're about to tell our viewers.
We fell short.
We fell short, yeah. What happened?
Didn't
rain. Mother Nature didn't give us rain.
This is a trick question.
Right, no,
exactly.
It really isn't. But that's basically the answer.
Right.
We expected a lot of rain, and
we've got about 9 inches out of 16 in one station, 12 inches out of 18 in another station. So we had about 2/3 of what we anticipated. But the Mesa is a big area, and the Groundwater Basin for Santa Maria is a big area. And we just didn't get the rain that we anticipated.
So what did that mean then? You mentioned the Groundwater Basin, which is so pivotal.
Yes.
We're on the coast, so there's a risk that if we overpump, we could get seawater intrusion. So what can you tell us about the Groundwater Basin in your community?
So the Groundwater Basin in our community did not get out of our severe criterion. So the Nipomo Basin Management Technical Group is a group that was assigned by the courts to manage the basin.
But you're adjudicated.
We're an adjudicated basin. There are 3 sub-management groups that are overseeing the entire basin, Santa Maria Basin. So the Nipomo Mesa Management Area looks at the Mesa area, and there are 3 purveyors on the Mesa. There are then the county and then ag interests. But for Nipomo,
this is South San Luis Obispo County. And into North Santa Barbara County?
No.
Just South San Luis Obispo County.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. So then what we have is, for us, we had a groundwater table that we have a measurement that we've defined as the severe criteria and potentially severe criteria. Each one of those, when the water table reaches that, it requires us to act in a certain way.
And so let's talk about that action, because what we can see right now is that there are 5 potential stages of shortage, which triggers response. Stage 1 to 5, the last time we spoke, Nipomo was in stage 3. Where are you now, sir?
Yes, we do our spring groundwater measurements, and the Nipomo Mesa Management Group came up in June, the end of June. They announced and confirmed that we were now still in severe criterion. So that was the 2nd consecutive year that we were in that condition. That means we now move from stage 3 down to stage 4. So the scale is 1 to 5, 5 being the worst. We are now in stage 4, having 2 consecutive years of severe criterion.
And what that means is a severe water shortage for more than 1 year. And that's what we know.
That's what we know.
And I guess as a result, you are looking for a 50% reduction in district groundwater production. Is that accurate?
That's correct. As you just stated, there are triggers that turn on and off as we move through these stages, and then those triggers set a conservation objective. The conservation objective for stage 4 is a 50% groundwater reduction. Now,
how much, if I may ask, how much of the water that your community uses comes from groundwater?
That's a good question.
Okay,
because we do know.
Yes.
So last year, from July 2015 through June 2016, that's our water year as we measure it, we used 1,814 acre feet.
Okay.
Out of that, 652 acre feet was imported. The balance was...
So about 2/3 is groundwater.
Correct.
So if your groundwater is under stress, it can be cataclysmic.
Yes.
But I believe there's good news. Aren't you going to be importing more in through Santa Maria?
There's a really good news. First good news is the community has really stepped up and done its conservation homework.
Perfect.
The second piece of good news is that we're looking at a value, the average 2009 to 2013, the average consumption to establish that mark of 50%.
Right.
So that was 2,500 acre feet. So if you cut that in half, you're somewhere in the 1,250 acre feet. So you can see we were very close last year, even in stage 3.
Okay.
Now, the best news is the Supplemental Water Project is going to be importing a minimum of 800 acre feet, so an additional 155 acre feet minimum. As we know, it's the groundwater basins that we're protecting. If we need to ask the city to crank it up, we need a little bit more, then we'll crank it up and we'll use a little bit more. But we really need our community to look in and make sure that they're doing everything they can to conserve water before we start trying to bring more water in.
Okay, but the Santa Maria project is a blessing, and it
Yes.
was planned a few years ago, and it couldn't have gone online at a better time.
It was almost as if it was a storybook writing.
Exactly. That being said, I hear stage 4 out of 5 stages, and it causes my heart to pump a little faster.
Yes.
It makes me very concerned. And so what is being done? What can be done? I mean, you suggest a lot has been done, but do the residents of Nipomo need to do more?
Well, if they do need to do more, by the board declaring a stage 4, that gives them additional actions that they can, or bullets in their pouch to go ahead and fire when they need them. There's no, if we're going to meet our objective right now, there's no need to instill additional action. But there are actions here available. We could actually, under stage 4, stop all outside irrigation. All outside irrigation.
Well, I mean, isn't brown the new gold, or I mean, isn't that a good thing?
Well, think of the high value trees and shrubs that will all suffer.
I jest.
Yes.
But we don't have to do that at this stage.
At this point, we don't have to do that, or we don't have to tell all those people who've invested in their intent to serve letters, those developments that are going right now. We don't have to tell them, sorry, I know you put $3 million into your project, but you're just going to have to wait. We have committed to those people to continue to honor those and perfect those into a will serve letters.
So we're allowing outdoor irrigation.
We are allowing 2 days a week.
That is, and is it specific days that everyone knows?
No,
just you need to know you got 2 days.
And again, we look at the results. Our community has met the challenge, and so we don't have to dig in and be the water cops yet.
Can we talk about swimming pools? Because there's a lot of misperceptions about swimming pools. Swimming pools are not necessarily, am I right, the water guzzlers that people say they are?
What I know about swimming pools is they're wonderful on a hot day. I wish I could tell you more. I don't know more about it.
I mean, because the reason I asked you that, sir, is just because you see mentions of swimming pools, here.
Well, the idea of fountains and pools and all those others, there's swimming pools have a transpiration, right? They evaporate, and so there's water loss, and you have to fill the pools. And so, is it prudent to, in these late stages, to continue that, or would it make more sense to maybe hold back on those? We're
not there yet.
Big issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're in summer now. Winter's around the corner. Any early projections? I feel like when we spoke last year, we were talking about El Nino. What are the experts telling us?
They're saying La Nina, and
so what
tell
is
us
that? About La Nina, because doesn't that mean dry?
Well,
or it depends.
It depends,
right?
And it's typical weather. I wish I could tell you more.
Right.
What I do know is that when we self-certify, what we have to do is we have to look 3 years in advance.
Okay, so what can you tell us?
So 3 years in advance, we just take the last 3 years of drought, lay it on top of the next 3 years, right, and tell where are we going. And so the way the district is, it still says that we will be in stage 4 if things go exactly, but we won't be any worse. Because why? Because we have a supplemental water project, and because we have a community that has been responsive. We have got what we need to get through the next 3 years of dry, if that's what we're faced with.
Wow. His name is Mario Iglesias. He is the general manager of the Nipomo Community Services District. My name is Brad Pomerance on the Central Coast, Charter Local Edition.